So let me take the recording again. So when you open the HANA Studio, just you see the, so here in the left side top, you see the plus icon, add the systems. So in any case, something wrong with the your HANA Studio, in any case. So something like some here, you see some minimize, maximize buttons in sub window, minimize, maximize button, minimize, maximize button. In any case, you will see sometimes like that. So sometimes different screens, different screens. In any case, suppose you wrongly put this some button, minimize, maximize button. In this case, to get to the previous status, go to the Windows on the HANA Studio. Okay, so perspective, so reset perspective. Then it will bring your system to previous status. See here, now I got the previous status, right? So same, you have to do that one. Okay, in any case, if you have something wrong with the your HANA Studio or something, then you can do like this. Okay, so just to reset, it will come back to the your previous screen. Okay. So here the maximum. Okay, plus symbol. So our host name is the SAP HANA instance number 00, and our multi-container database name is the S4H. TenantDB, you no need to give the database name, just so same password I am using. So I think it's connected. Then go to the same. So here you can use the same multi-container. Then our tenant database ID is the S4H. Like that, we can add multiple databases. Or why we are using the all are using the system database, system user. System user is the initial user, right? So here we have not discussed about the security management, user management in the HANA. That's why we are using the system user for initially for some days, right? So coming to the our topic. So to recap what we discussed, so we discussed about the we have discussed about the so overview. So to monitor the services, landscape tab, all the services and everything. So you can see, so alerts, so performance, so all the tabs we have discussed. When was the last restart happened? You can hear it in 27th. So today 29th. So 27th. Today is the 29th. So we can see here. So alerts, are there any critical alerts in the system? Performance tabs, volume tab. So all these things we have discussed, right? All these things we have discussed. So here, what is the current log segment? It is writing where the log is writing here. What is the segment is free here. So when we are going to discuss about the so other topic, then we will come to know this what is this logs and everything, right? So this is the logs. It's a freely. It's writing here. It's writing here, right? You can see here free and writing here. So these are the OS level. So in this folder, in this location, currently it is writing to the in this location. So whenever any transaction happens, directly it will write into the here, right? Here you can see the performance tab. So sessions and performance, jobs, expensive treatment, job SQL, right? So coming to the configuration tab. So this configuration tab is for, we are going to discuss about the configuration tab now in the HANA Studio configuration tab. So in the configuration tab, so what does it mean by configuration? So configuration means in your existing system, in existing HANA system, if you want to change any configurations, suppose same as like in SAP level, we have RJ10 and RJ11 for parameters and the profiles. Same as like here in the HANA also, by default, you will get the default configuration, right? Whenever you do the HANA installation, you will get the default configuration, right? Default configuration, SAP default configuration you will get. So in that default configuration, you will get in that default configuration, default parameters, each parameters and default settings are there. Default settings are exist, right? So you can see, suppose you can, these all are the process. If you see, if you go to the so global.ini, it's a global INI file and index server related file. script server, these all are the services. By default, it will not be active. If you want to, if there is a need, you can activate it. If there is no need, you no need to activate this one. Doc server, DI server, and the N server, and index server. Index server will be active. So it will be active actually by default, right? Same it is available in the system DB as well. Same it is available in the system DB, but it's more. Why? Because if any changes in the system, you have to do via from so system DB only, not directly in the TenDB, right? You can see the compile server, so daemon, so all the process are available here. All the so INI files are available. INI files means so it's like kind of each process settings. It's kind of settings. So each process to control this process running. How can we control this process? How can we control this one? How to change the settings? Why? Because during the installation you will get the default settings, SAP recommended default settings. You want to change it, to the your own organization settings. Then how can we do that one? So then in this case, if any changes are required, or sometimes in the EWA, or sometimes so the SAP will recommend to change the parameters. So right, some parameter values, some configuration values, and everything. Then in that case, you have to come to the configuration tab. You need to change it. Sir, where I have to change it? It is a name server related parameters are available. Here you have to change it. This is the index server related available. So if you don't know anything, then here there is a filter. Maybe suppose SAP asked you to change the memory parameter. Just type memory if you don't remember. Then all the memory related parameters are displayed here. Then you can see what is the memory limitations and everything. Suppose example memory limitation. Normally every organization they will go for the parameters, memory parameters. Like one is they may expect like global allocation, global allocation limit, and statement memory limit state statement so memory so limitation statement memory limitation parameter statement memory limitation parameters. So these are the very important actually every organization. Global memory limitation parameter, so statement memory limit, statement memory threshold. So there the parameters are very important for the especially for the memory. You can see here global allocation limit. So then statement memory limit, then statement memory threshold. These three are very important actually. Why it is very important? These three parameter will control the entire memory. These three parameter will control the entire memory parameters. It will control it. Entire memory means entire system usage. It will control it. So now it's zero. Zero means unlimited. So your RAM size is suppose like example, your RAM size is the 67 GB, so that's 47 GB. Suppose example, you have the 47 GB. In that 43 GB already HANA using. I don't want to give the 43 GB. I want to give the 40 GB only. Then in this case, you can set like something like some 40 GB. You can set it out. Then save it. Then automatically the change value will be imposed. The value will be changed here. Suppose just refresh here. Then automatically the 40 GB, nearly 40 GB, it is so set. So which means HANA entertained to use only 40 GB. Remaining 7 GB will be used by the OS. So whenever you set the threshold, HANA will use the 39 GB. If it is using the more than 39 GB, then immediately it will go down status. It will be stopped. It will be crashed. So that's why we are setting the limitations here. Here we are setting the limitations for the HANA database. We are setting the limitations here. So same as like statement memory limit. As we discussed yesterday, few of the statements may execute longer time, right? So longer time, 1 hour, 2 hour, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 100 GB, 200 GB. The memory we can control it. But what about the statement is using the longer memory, a very much memory. In that case, how can we control it, sir? System is down one time, then that is fine. But what about the how to control it, how to mitigate it? Then in this case, you have to control this again, same to configuration tab. Then here you have the limitation parameter. If any statement, suppose if I set the 4 GB, 4 GB, if I set the 4 GB, so if any statement that will execute the 4 GB, the statement if more than 4 GB that is consuming the memory, then immediately that statement will be cancelled. System will be safe mode. Like that, the threshold, how much threshold you want to use, 90%, 10%, like the thresholds also we can set it out. So like that, we can set the some memory parameters, not only memory parameters. So like suppose timeout parameters, if you don't know timeout parameter, maybe you can set the timeout parameters. Suppose like example, session idle connection timeout. Here 1 day, 1 day. Suppose your session is active for idle, immediately that will be timed out. After the 1 day it will be timed out. Now I don't want to 1 day, I want something like 1 4 4 1, so just 1 30 minutes. Then you can change the new value, then click on the save button, so that will that value will be changed here. Just a minute, session idle, so timeout value. If your session, in your session, here in the performance tab, here we can see the session. If the session is idle for 1 day, then it will be disconnected. It will be disconnected. Timeout value. It will be disconnected. Idle. So it will be idle. It will be disconnected. So those things we can see in the HANA Studio. Those we can suppose the ROM. So ROM connected yesterday still is active, but is idle for some time, maybe 1 day. Then immediately his session will be disconnected. Why? Because the connection related parameters we set, the timeout parameters, the timeout limitations we set. So basically, the configuration is tab is for the for changing the existing configuration, for changing the existing configuration. So I see only here only ROM user is there. So I don't see anyone connected to the S4H and working on that one. I don't think others are practicing or not, I don't know, but it's a very important. Why? Because we almost discussing about the middle of the HANA administration. Still you are not connected to the HANA Studio. How many are connected here? Just can you raise your hands, please? How many
Sir,
are connected to?
yesterday I connected, sir.
Okay, you
But
connected.
yeah, Ram uninstalled everything and he installed freshly S4H.
Yeah, you all are connected to the S4H. Just practice it your other installations as well. Don't worry, practice it. But thing is, like you can make it. You can just install the other databases and uninstall it. Not a problem. Just you can practice it. So no one stop you while practicing. But thing is, you can connect this one as well. At least you can connect this
Yeah.
one as well. Just connect this one as well. That's you are okay. So what about the others? So Bhaskar, Niranjan, Parimala, Ravi.
No, now connected, sir. Now connected.
You connected. Okay. Sirisha.
I will connect today.
Okay. Sirisha, Srikanth. You guys are okay. Are you able to understand? Sirisha, you are saying something. We are unable to hear you. Still unable to hear you. Srikanth,
Sir,
you got the details?
sir, will connect today, sir.
Okay. So don't delay. Like it's not for my advantage. For your advantage only I'm telling. Okay. So don't delay. Why? Because you have to practice it, right? That's why my main intention is to you have to practice it. If you connect it, definitely your ID will be there here. So only Ram I can see, Ram and my ID I can see here, which means we both are only discussing, right? We are all are discussing. So we all are discussing, and if you connect it, so something like I can assume like okay, you are getting something, you are trying to understand something, right? So yeah, I think so we have one more alert is generated. See here, the transparent huge pages. There is a alert. Transparent huge pages are activated, not readable on the HANA platform. So what SAP is saying? So you need to OS recommended setting something is missed in the system. So we need to check that one. So what is this? So you have to fix it. That is the so work I am giving to you today. So you have to fix this error. What is this error? Okay, there is some parameter, something you need to change it. So you need to, if you change it, that error it won't occur. Okay, you have to fix this error, this issue. Okay, you have to monitor daily HANA database. Are there any critical alerts are generating or not? Are there any services restarted or not? So what is the status of the memory, CPU? This is our daily routine work. Actually, when you join the organization, this is our work, daily routine work to make our systems are green status. That's why our the signals are also green status. Okay, so if you miss it out, so then we cannot do anything actually. Okay, yeah. So coming back to the our discussion, we are discussing about the configuration tab. Configuration, which means configuration of the parameters. So each parameters means each process there is a INA file, web dispatcher.ini, full process.ini, name server.ini, diamond.ini, compile server.ini. Each process there the INA files, along with we have the global.ini file as well. So global. So suppose you want to check the authentication related parameters. Then you can go to the authorization, check what is the authorizations parameters are mentioned. Maybe authentication, what are the authentication related parameters are mentioned here, right? So what are the cache related parameters are mentioned here. Everything. It's not like that everything you need to change it. Depends upon the requirement. You should know. Depends upon the requirement. You should know how to change it. Depends upon the requirement how to change it. Tomorrow they may ask you to change the global memory parameter. Then how do you know? Then you have to go to the global.na, your memory manager. In the memory manager you have the all the parameters are there. If you don't know, just you can type in the filter screen, then automatically you will get the all the screens and everything, you will get it out. Like that we can restrict the memory parameters. Suppose I wrongly set it out, I want to go default one, means restore 0. There is a restore default. If you don't do that one, the value will be removed here. So these are the custom values. The green color are the custom values. Just if you restore the default, it will be gone. So it will be gone. Gone means the value which you set out, it will be changed to the previous status. Okay, it will be changed to the previous status this way. So some parameters, so immediately in SAP level, so after changing the parameters, after changing the timeout parameters, sometimes we are immediately so restarting our SAP systems to affect it. What about the HANA side, sir? In HANA side also, few parameters are static, few parameters are dynamic parameters. Right? We know, you know that word, static and dynamic parameters, which means few parameters we change it, that will be immediately affected. Same as like suppose in the global allocation limit, you change that parameter, then when you refresh it, immediately that is affected. See here, immediately that is affected. But when you change the few parameters, that you need to redo the restarts. You need to do the restarts. So that time that will be affected. Sir, how can I know? It's a very important. How can I know which parameters are so restart is required? Which parameters restart is required? So in the HANA Studio, there is are in the in the SAP side also, SAP they have written like which parameters restart is required or not. So they have given which parameters so restart is required or which parameters restart is not required. So there is a commands actually. There is a commands actually. In the there is a one table. In the table, in the table, so if you in the table, they will clearly say restart is required or not. They will clearly tell us. They will clearly tell us. So the table name we can see in the where can we see means that I will show you in the catalogs. We can see when I am explaining about all this completed, when we go to the catalog field, so here we can see here. Okay, here we can see. Otherwise, let me so let me find out the table name. There is a configuration. Parameter properties. Yes. So here we can see here. So restart is required or not. Here restart is required or not. We will show the one comment here. If the true, then definitely we need to do the restart. If it is the false, we don't need to do the restart here. If it is the true, we need to do the restart. If it is the false, we need to do the restart. So this is the table actually. In this table, all the values in this table, you have the all the values will be stored here in this table. In this view name, in this view, all the values will be stored. So we can just open this view. We can just open the view and we can just open the view and we can see. Open the view and you can see that the contents in the table, so that will be displayed actually, that will be displayed here actually. So that actually this catalog I have to discuss with you, this catalog I have to discuss with you. So for now, so maybe if you google it also, it will give the clear information. Maybe if you go in the SAP, maybe HANA SAP, if you type it, so there is a clear column properties. So you see here. So knowing the restarts. So after modifying. So here, so they are clearly so written. There is a blog as well. So method one. So then you can go to the configuration parameters reference. Then you can see here whether the restart is required or not. Method two. So then you can just copy the this value, copy the parameter value, copy the this SQL statement. So this here m underscore configuration parameter value. Go to the here, then so right click and go to the SQL console. This is SQL console is to execute the SQL commands and everything. SQL commands everything. See here. Now you can see all the parameters are there here in this m underscore configuration value. Here all the parameters are there here. Suppose you changed the one parameter, memory parameter. See here, where are the memory parameters here? Global allocation limit and statement memory limit. So here you will see, suppose like you can see the this one, you changed the this parameter. Now we should know whether the restart is required or not. Restart is required or not. So if you see here, restart is required or not, if it is the false, you no need to do the restart. If it is the true, definitely you need to do the restart. That's it. Almost all parameters, it will be immediately, it will be affected actually. All the parameters, it will be affected immediately. Only few are required to do the restarts. So those here we can see here by executing the command. There are the multiple methods actually, multiple methods actually. So multiple methods we can check it out. So one is the command, second one is the go to the here you can put the your parameter name, go to the SAP site, help.sap site. Here you can put your parameter name. Here just you can set your parameter name. Suppose like so global underscore allocation underscore limit limit. So if you search here, see here this parameter, see here it got it. If you open this one, you will see here, if you open this one, you will see restart is required or not. Restart is required false, which means you don't need to restart, it will be affected immediately. So like that, you have the many number of parameters are there. Which parameter restart is required, which one is restart not required. Simply you can check from this site actually. Simply you can check in this site actually. So I'm pasting here. You can see this is the blog actually. So if you put the parameter name, it will clearly display the which parameters it will be restart is required or not. See here, the system level we can find out, or so in the uh, system level we can find out, or so in the we have the in the SAP site, SAP help site also, we can find out the which parameters you require the restart or not, we can find out. So it depends upon the version, you can find out. We have the versions are there, depends upon the version, you can find out which parameters you do required or not, you can find out here. This is the HANA configuration of the parameters. So that you clear. Why? Because most of the people, they may ask you, sir, how can we know which parameters restart is required or not? So we can check in the system, or we can check in the help.sap.com also. There we can find out the parameters required or not. So how to change the parameters means, now you know configuration of the parameters. So you can go to the configuration tab. Here we can change the parameters. Normally we will get the requirement from the SAP only, either the EW recommendations, or maybe SAP will ask you to change this parameters. SAP will ask you to change the parameters, but they won't give you, go to the configuration tab, go to this one, this one. You need to do that one as a basis consultant. You need to perform the configuration of the changes this parameter. Then if you don't know where to perform, go ahead and filter tab, then change it. Go ahead and filter tab, you change it all the parameters. So like that, so we have to change it in the real time also. We need to change it in each and every system. So last time we changed it in the almost all the systems, almost all the 50 HANA databases. I have changed it in one person. I have changed it. So like that, you may get the situation like you need to work it out. Go to the configuration tab. You need to change the all the parameters one by one, one by one. You have to change it, right? You have to change it all the parameters. So now I will give the one assignment to changing the parameters. Why? Because so we have so same as like how I done for the other systems in my real time, same as like you have to do in the system also. You have to do the system also. So say here, this is a command. Actually, this is a command. So these are the parameters I changed in my real time systems. See here, these are the parameters. So suppose like in the memory manager, GC unused memory, disk usage limit, parallel merge threads. So these are the parameters. I changed it to the false 5 or 95, like that I changed it. In all the systems I changed it. So I will give the list. You have to change it. It's okay. I will give the list. Then you will get to know. So how to change the parameter in the real time also. You will get the requirement. Same like you have to change it. But in that, the memory parameters are very important to check that one. Why? Because two limitations of memory. Why? Because most of the companies, most of the customers, they may face the memory issues. Why? Because if you don't set the memory limit, what happens? This process will always start using the maximum memory of the your OS. It will start using the maximum memory OS. Your OS will be hung, and there all the process which are running in the operating system will be hung status. Right? You need to restart the operating system. So if you set the limit, HANA will start using that limit only. Then when that limit is reached, HANA will be restarted. Then there is no impact on your operating system. Right? That's why we need to segregate that one. And also, if you install the multiple databases in the one operating system, you need to limit 70% for the one operating system, one database, 30% for the one database. Like that, you need to segregate the memory limitations and everything. So the value, how do you know particular value can be given, or up to this value can be given? So we will get the recommendations. You no need to worry about that one. We will get the recommendations from the SAP, or so by checking with SAP or some other developers or functional teams, or when you are working on the issue, you will come to know, okay, because of this value, we got this error. If you increase the value, we won't get this type of issues. Or if you raise the case with SAP, SAP will tell you what values we need to change it. What values you need to change it. There is a SAP statement, SAP SQL statements actually. This is called the SAP mini checks actually. SAP SQL statements. In that statement, so you have the parameters actually. You have the parameters. In the parameters, so SAP will recommend which parameters you need to change and what parameter values you have to so change it. Suppose if we check this one, the last time we executed these SQL statements in our HANA database, then we came to know, okay, these many changes we have to done for our version. So this statement will be provided by the SAP. You need to execute this statement. See here in our system. So what are the values are there? So what are the values and all the information is exist, not this one. So maybe this one, I guess. Yes. So you need to execute this SQL statement. And if any SQL statement, see how much longer running SQL statements you have. This SQL statement is available in the SAP side, so we can get it out from there. If you execute this SQL statement, you will come to know what is the current value, what is the recommended value you need to change it in your systems. So the recommended value you will get from the SAP. What is the recommended value you have to change in your SAP systems? That value you will come. Based on that, you need to plan your changes. You need to plan your changes, right? This is the way. See here. So what is the value we will get here? So I executed the one SQL statements. This SQL statements is given by the SAP only. So this is the very long SQL statements. So this SQL statement will check the all the parameters in your HANA system. It will compare it whether it is correctly working or not. Are there any restrictions or anything? It will correctly check it out. You don't need to worry about that recommendation parameters. We have the SQL statements. So that the SQL statements are available in the SAP level. So that SAP will provide you to execute these statements. Then if you execute it in your SAP HANA systems, then if you execute it, then it will give the results. Based on that results, you need to change the parameter value. See here, the statement is executing in the last one. See here, the statement is executed. So here we have the information. What is the version of we have? So what is the version we have and the log size and everything. Now, if you see here, what is the configured value? See here. So here in the global.na statement memory limitation parameters we have not configured. SAP is saying that configure the 4 GB or to so 13 GB. So the enable tracking is false. SAP is saying that is it on? So memory tracking and also NUMA codes 3. SAP is saying that make it the 4. So like that, SAP asked us to change the 6 parameters. This is the recommended value. This is the current configuration value. We need to change it. We need to change these values to the our recommended values. We need to change it. Same as like you need to execute in the so in the tenant DB as well, so that you will get it out. So you need to take these values. What are the global data NA in the what is the section? What is the parameter name and which value you need to set? Recommended value. See here, SAP recommended value. You need to set as per SAP recommendation. In our database also, SAP recommending to change these values as well. So if you open it, so then you can change the values as well. Like that, we need to so keep our databases is in the up and running. So if you don't change it, what will nothing will happen. But sometimes you may get the issues actually. You may get the issues actually. So we need to we will get the recommendations from SAP only. It's not our own value. See here, SAP recommended value recommendation. SAP going with you are not set anything here. Please set the either the 4 GB. So same as like we are treating our system as the real time, right? Same as like in the our jump box in the E drive, there is a SQL statement. I pasted the one SQL statement here. This is the SAP provided SQL statements. You execute this SQL statement, then you will get the recommended values, which value, what is the parameter we have to change it, and this one. So you gather all the evidences, what is the current value, what is the recommended value, then based on that, so we can change it and we can take the downtime and we can restart it. Same thing, we can restart it. So like that, you can also plan in our landscape as well. In the real time also, you will get the similar things actually. In the real time also, your manager or someone or SAP ask you to execute the SQL statement. Then if you execute the SQL statement, then you will come to know if you execute the SQL statements, so they will come to know what parameters you have to change it and what is the recommended value. All these things you will get it out. So based on that, so you have to change the values. But normally production systems weekend they will do the restart. Non-production in weekdays itself also we can restart it. But so it's a HANA database. We need to carefully plan the changes. First, we need to take the backups and all these things. We have to take it out as part in the real time. How we will do same as like here. And also we set our system as the production system. So carefully when you are planning, so carefully you need to so do the changes in our systems as well. Carefully you need to do the systems. Carefully you need to plan the systems. Okay, this is the SQL
Sir,
para.
so do we need downtime for both, false and true statement, or only for true?
If the parameter value is true, then definitely restart is required. Then only the value will
Yeah.
be affected. Though if there is the restart is required, false means you don't need to restart it. That will be affected immediately. Same as like now we changed the memory parameters. Right? Example, you can take the memory parameters, global allocation limit, statement, memory limit. You can just so by head these parameters definitely. Why? Because most of the companies they may ask you, can you tell me the memory related parameters? Definitely, you have to tell that one. See here in the tenant DB also we have the so few parameters we need to set in the tenant DB also. See here, so these are the many parameters. So they are asking you to change this parameter. See here, so cache SSL session cache it's not set. They are setting that make it off. You need to type off. Suppose we will change one parameter, right? So default statement concurrency limit 0. They are saying that recommended value is the 4. Suppose we will take this value. Okay, we will take this value. We'll take this value. Then default statement limitation parameter. Now go to the studio configuration. If you don't know where to change it, so but already here they will provide it where to change it and everything here clearly. The global data in a execution default statement. If you don't know, then you can put here automatically. It will come here. They are saying that put 4, right? Put 4 or 3. What is the value? Yeah, 4. So I changed it to the 4 now. I changed it to the 4 now. So if I change it to the 4, now if I execute the statement again, this should gone. It should gone. So it should gone. Why? Because if it is the parameter restart is not required, it should gone. The default concurrency limit, it should gone. So, but still it is coming means then the value is not affected. We need to restart the system. Definitely we need to restart the system. That's the main thing.
So we need to restart database or
Database we have to
that
restart.
Linux
No. Database we need to.
database, right?
OS is not required.
Yeah.
So how to
Yeah.
do the stop and stop the HANA databases, I will let you know. So how to do that one.
Okay.
So how to stop the HANA databases, how to start the HANA database, that I will explain it now. So
Okay.
once we got the value here, so there I will let you know.
So one parameter is enable and recommended is true. True means we need to
Put
like
true.
if it is false,
Just type.
we need to true.
Yeah. It maybe it will set the false or it not set. Then you need to change the values to the TRUU, something like that. You need to change the value. You have to manually write like TRUE, something like that. You need to like
Yeah,
that.
just
So
now you shared one link.
yes.
Yeah, in that we need to search for each parameter
Each
whether
pair,
it required
yeah,
reboot or not.
yes. Each para. That is the manual work we have to do. Yes. Yeah. I think that parameter is gone. See now. So in something like in previously we said like default statement conquer, default statement conquer. So that is gone. That is gone. That is not there. Which means the value changed now. So there is no recommendation now. SAP also removed that parameter. Now we have many parameters. See here, many are there recommended value. So change it. Better to restart it. It's a better to restart the system. So always after you changes, maybe whenever you want. So with that time you can restart it. Maybe statement memory limit also. If currently it's at 0, it's not recommended value. Why? Because 0 means it will use the unlimited memory. But we have to restrict the memory for the each and every SQL statement, right? Then SAP is saying that minimum give 4, maximum 13. The 8 is the recommended value. For our database, 8 is the recommended value. 8 GB is the recommended value. So if you want to put 4, that is also fine. If you want to maximum, you can put 13, that is also fine. But SAP recommendation is going to the 8. In the bracket, they have given the 8 means 8 GB. You can put 8 also, that is fine. If you put 4 also, you can put fine. That is fine. Anything. So these are the recommendations SAP is saying that change it here. So same thing we can change it from in our systems. Then after that, after changes of execute the command, it will come to the 0000, which means all our parameters are set as per the SAP recommendation. Whenever any issue happens in your system, when you ask SAP to investigate it, SAP will investigate it. SAP will execute the some commands. Then they will get the results like this type of, okay, your parameters are not set correctly as per the recommendation. Go ahead and set the parameters. Simple.
Sir, one question.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to change on system database and tenant database, right? The
System
same
database,
query we need to execute.
yeah, say system database is enough actually. If you change the system database, that will affect to the tenant as well. So if you change the
Okay.
system database, that will affect to the tenants as well. So that's fine. You
Yeah.
don't need to change it. But
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
parameters it's required to change in the tenant DB only few. So those things manually we have to execute in the tenant DB itself. We have to execute.
Naveen,
Who
one
will give
question.
this SAP support only? They will give this recommendation.
Yes. Everything we will get the recommendation from the asset. The site
When
itself.
they will give, I mean to say it's only one time or
Normally
whenever we get it.
they won't ask you to change, but every week we will get the report from the SAP. That is called the EWA report. SAP yesterday the RAM showed us, right, one of the EWA report. In that EWA report also you have the same set of the parameters are available to change this one. We need to change this one. So otherwise we change it in the normally everything we have to change in the system DB only. Our blind we have to change in the system DB only. That is the one thing. Why? Because we change the system DB, that will affect to the tenant DB as well. So that's why. So everything system DB can control it. Everything system DB can control it. So that tenant also will be affected. You cannot directly change anything in the tenant DB.
Okay. So could you please show me that report, sir? I mean to say in that exactly what configuration parameters we need to change.
So in that report, so nothing is there. So that is the HANA parameter check. HANA reports. SAP, sometime during the interview point of time, they may ask you, did you execute as any SAP minis checks and SQL checks, something like that? Yes, I have executed. As per the checks, I have implemented those parameters. Actually, in that parameter, there is some SQL queries are involved in that queries. So what is the current? It will check the all the parameters in your system. It will check the all the parameters in your system. So the parameters it will check, and it will what is the current value, what is the recommended value, everything it will return it actually this one. This is provided by SAP. Means in SAP side there is a developers, they will write this code. So then they will send to us, execute this command, let me know the results. Then we will execute it. Then we will. But these commands are available in the SAP portal. We can directly download the all the SQL statements. So same as like how we have in SQL, we can download it and we can execute it. Not only this one, we have many are there. Depends upon the issue, we have to take it to action. Depends upon the issue, we have to take action on the this SQL statements and anything. See here any number of SQL statements. See here. So suppose your workload is very heavy. Your HANA workload means heavy issue. So you need to check what is you have to check. Then suppose your threads are using the more, you don't know what to check. So there is SQL statement. These all are the SQL statements on SAP provided SQL statements. Your heap memory is very high, heap allocations are very high, memory issues are very high. Then go ahead and execute the statement. Go ahead and execute the statements. Then you will get the what is exactly even in your system you have the issue. So then all the information will be displayed in the system, right? So some statements may run longer time. So here the statement is executed, but nothing is provided. So currently, I don't think we don't have any issues in the system, deep issues. So that's why it's not giving any empty results. So this is not applicable for us. So like
So
that,
can you open? So can you open EWA report once? So
where yesterday you showed, right? Okay, this is the one.
so in the second line, you can clearly see.
Yeah, I can see the database parameters are not set according to the SAP recommendation. Then in this case, we need to set our database recommendations as per the parameters. See here, they're asking you to change this parameter to recommended value in which layer, database layer. So our system DB or data, which layer we have to set it out. So maybe suppose if we change this parameter value, currently it's false. Maybe they are saying that restore to the default. It's set to the false. Restore to in our organization, it's set to the false. But here you will see what is the value it's set here. We'll see here. So there is nothing in our version. There is no, this parameter is not exist in our version. That's why it's not showing. So we are fine. So what about the TCP backlog? They are saying that 20548 current value, make it to the restore default. Maybe we will check this value. This is the 20548. Then they are saying that restore to default. It's already, we have not set any value here. So then we can ignore this value also. We can ignore this value also, we can ignore it. So like that, if any value set, sometimes 2048 we will set in our organization, maybe the value is 2048 here. So then they are saying that restore to default value. Then we can change it to the restore to default value. So like that, we need to change
Sir, it won't show SQL statements. Yeah, it directly show the
it won't.
For every
They won't
for
ask
every
you
alert,
to.
you know, they provide SAP note here.
So SAP note is there. See here, as per the SAP note only, you need to
Okay.
change it. So the value is there. So but they won't ask you to change the. But this is our, based on experience, you will get what to change and what not to change actually. So how can I get the recommended value means? Now I know experience. Why in all my landscape systems I executed. That's why I'm directly giving the SQL statements in an organization. If you're facing any issues, first execute this SQL statements. Then you will come to know what are the recommendations from SAP. So then after that, you will see your system will be stabilized. Same parameters SAP also providing in the as part of the EWA checks. See here, they're also providing a few parameters they're recommending to the change it. Same thing, like few parameters they are recommending to the change it here. So like that. So they are asking you to change the parameters, current value. Suppose like statement memory limitation, default statement memory limit, current value 16. So their recommended value is the 6 or 32. So that we already in between, like 16 we have already. So we no need to change this one. We no need to change this one. So some concurrency hint, some GC parallelicity, 32 already changed, 16 I'll already set. So we no need to change in this case, it's already set as per the recommendations. So few are global allocation limits. See here, global allocation, it's a very common question actually, memory parameters allocation. So it's currently they have set to the 80 GB, I think 88 GB, 888, 880 GB, right? In your organization it was set to the 880 GB. So which means, so it's okay, current value is okay. Set here, set the ANA parameters to the recommended value in the table, right? So the recommendation is the custom value is equal to the ANA default value, then explicitly no need to define it. In this case, restore the default, execute the restore, then execute the command, execute the command to change it. So they are saying that, see here, be aware of proper tenant DB parameter setting. These parameters required to be must be double checked. Otherwise, critical parameters can be set in the system DB. It appears as a default values in the tenant DB side as well, which means sometimes we need to check the parameter value in the system DB itself. Not only tenant DB, system DB also. Sorry, not only system DB, tenant DB also. You need to carefully. You need to check. So default values only to check the recommendations. Okay, table para deviating the default values. So why? So check here. Check is amber. Amber means that we need to plan the changes actually in our system. So like that, so we have to plan like that. We need to plan the changes in our landscape. So because of your parameters are not configured correctly, you may face some issues. You may face the issues. That's the reason SAP saying that. So execute the script, or maybe check your EWA in organization. If you don't have EWA, execute the scripts. Then you will see the recommended values. Then if you execute the recommended value, then your system is the green status. Otherwise, sometimes you may get the restart, ANA service restart, iCPU, high memory, something load issues and everything.
Ravi, hello.
Yes.
These are all static parameters.
What I am saying, I cannot directly tell you. I cannot guarantee this is static or dynamic. We need to check each parameter. We need to check in the table. So whether restart is required or not. So if the restart is not required, it's a true or false. It will be displayed. If the parameter value set like suppose take example Spark remote resource. This is the parameter value you are going to change it. So you check this one. Restart is required or not. It will show here. If the restart is required, definitely you need to restart it after changes. See here, restart is required. Yes, definitely this parameter restart is required. This restart is not required.
Yeah, if it is false, when we restart the system, it will gone, right? It will
It
set
won't
to
go.
default.
No, it won't go. Yeah, permanently
Okay,
we
it
are
will
changing.
be
It won't. Yeah, it will be same.
So until
Yeah.
unless we hit the reset button, it won't go to a previous state, right, sir?
Yes, right. If you reset the restore default, then that time it will go. The parameter will be gone. So, but if
Oh,
you set the parameter value, when you restart it, it won't come back. Like it is not in the previous status until you click the restore default option is there, right? You need to click this one. So here it's
okay,
mentioned
okay.
the restart is required true, yes, which means Boolean value. True, which means definitely you need to restart this stuff. You change the all the
Okay,
parameter, do the one
what
time restart.
okay, what we thought is like in RZ11 will change the dynamic parameters, right? So
Yeah.
once we restart, it will goes to the default
Yeah,
values, what the
yeah,
previous one. So we
yeah.
are
But it's
thinking
not.
like that.
Yeah.
If we
It's
change
not
any
like that here.
values, if
Yeah.
we okay, if we restart, it will goes to the default value.
And it
Then
won't
what
go.
is the use of changing?
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it will
That
be.
is a major
Yeah.
doubt we are
Yeah.
getting.
No, it won't come back. It won't come back. I did in the
Okay,
many
once
systems
it
actually.
is changed, it's changed, but whether it needs a restart or not, we need to check and restart, right?
Yeah. Otherwise, normally what they will do, if suppose in the hundreds of parameters, at least one parameter will be restart is required, right? If they will change the all
Yeah.
the parameter, so better they will do the restarts. One time they will do the restart.
Okay.
All will be affected.
Okay.
So one or two parameters, really we need to think actually. If the 10, 12, hundreds, 50, thousands are there, then better to change all parameters and do the restarts.
Okay.
That is the thing they will do. In our case, we have last time we changed the 30 or 40 parameters, we changed it. 30 or 40 parameters, we changed it. So then some parameters restart required, some parameters are restart are not required. What we did is, so anyhow we have the downtime. Then we restarted. The restart, if
Is
you
this
restart,
downtime is calculated by you, or how can we
we have
decide?
to define, we have to inform, okay, how much time it required. Okay, suppose you changed the value, okay, 30 minutes your parameter changes, then restart, how much time it will take, maybe 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, how much time. So then that estimation you have to give to the, so your manager or customer, then customer will approve the downtime, then you need to stop the SAP application, then you need to stop the HANA database, then again you need to start the HANA database, start the SAP application, like that.
Okay.
Means we have to propose, we know, right, we are really putting the hands in our system, then we should be aware of what is the exact system startup and downtime timelines, right? We should know. So that's the reason.
Yeah.
So mostly all this maintenance work will be done on weekends.